Hello and welcome to the new project on my channel, new crawler project. This is the FTX Outback 2 and this is the rolling chassis. So with the rolling chassis you don't get any of the stock electronics or transmitter receivers, and you also don't get a painted body, you get an unpainted clear body. And I went for the Tundra version, which is the Land Cruiser with the white wheels. You can get a Ford Bronco with chrome wheels or a Land Rover Defender with grey wheels, but I went for the Tundra with the Land Cruiser body. But I won't be using the Land Cruiser body, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But yeah, after seeing the body option that you can get for it from Proline, I had to have one of these. It's just a little bit of fun and something extra to take along with me to the trails. Just in case I break the SCX-10, I can bring this out and just have a little bit of fun with this, and I've got an extra truck to take along. It was really reasonably priced. I'm going to go through some of the things I really like about the chassis, and I'm going to go through some of the parts I'm going to be putting onto it today. This is the chassis itself. As you can see, it's bodyless because I actually sold the body for about £18 to someone at work who wanted it. It's just a bare chassis with a 390 size motor. So apparently they're not particularly strong and they're not particularly reliable, so I'll probably be doing a 540 size conversion. But overall the chassis is pretty good, I have to say. For £100 for a rolling chassis like this, all assembled, it's really good. First off, the tyres. They look pretty meaty, good for rock crawling, got a nice deep tread on them, and the compound is really nice, really sticky to compound, which is great. It's going to make it crawl very nicely. The stock white wheels, they're glue ones, they look like bead locks with the bolts in the middle, but they're just for aesthetics. Again, another nice touch, didn't have to do that, but they look really good. Moving around to the front axle, and whether or not you'll be able to see in there, probably not. Potentially. They actually have universal drive shafts in there. Rather than dog bone drive cup style like the SCX-10 has, these are actually universal drive shafts, which is a really nice touch, means you can get a lot more angle on the steering. That is one thing I need to adjust though, because this front steering arm is hitting the chassis, so I need to put hitting the axle, so it's preventing it from having a bit more angle, so I need to put a bend in that front link just so I can get a bit more steering angle. We get oil shocks, which feel really nice. I might need to put a lighter oil in there because it is a little bit stiff at the moment. But yeah, oil shocks are nice and they don't appear to be leaking, which is one of my pet peeves. Now the current setup is to have the electronics at the front and the battery at the back, and I'll be swapping that around. The brace in here, I'm going to swap with the brace just there. So I've got the electronics at the back and the battery at the front for more weight at the front. Obviously better for crawling. You can see those extra wires there go to 2 LEDs at the front and 2 LEDs at the back, which is really nice. Included LEDs in the chassis, so you got 2 whites and 2 reds. So yeah, whether or not I'll rip those out I don't know, but it's nice to have some LEDs included even in a rolling chassis like this. So I've got some pretty beefy looking centre drive shafts. They do need to be swapped around because the opening is at the top, so if you go in any water these are going to fill up with water, so you want to switch those around so any water that gets in there is going to drain out. Yeah, pretty beefy looking drive shafts. The axles don't have many hang-up points, to be honest, only sort of here, but they are quite thin, so they're not going to get hung up and give us a bit more ground clearance. Got aluminium linkages all the way around as well, top and bottom, which is really nice to see. And overall, this chassis is pretty good for £100. Really happy with it. So yeah, now to show you the parts I'm going to be putting into it. You may have already seen I've swapped out the servo from the SCX-10 to a 20 kilo version. So I'm using this old high-tech HS646WP servo. It's a 9 kilo servo, and that should be sufficient with the smaller chassis. So that's going in. I've got these spare aluminium hex hubs. They're from the Drift project, from the Yeah Racing suspension kit. So they've got no clamping ability, but they are aluminium, so they're going to be a bit stronger, and they're going to look much better than the plastic ones that are on there currently. Now this is the ESC that's going to be going into the Outback 2. It's a Hobby Wing 1080 crawler edition, so it's got a drag brake on it, and it came with a program card as well. Yeah, it's just a standard crawler ESC that's waterproof. So that's going to be going in. The only reason I got it is because of the drag brake. Not many other ESCs at this price range offer a drag brake, and the fact that it came with a program card was a big bonus in buying it. And finally we have a set of bead locks. Now these are the G-Made SR04s, I think, that I originally had on the SCX10. Now I'm running the RC 4-wheel drive 5-lug deep dish wheels. These are spare, so I'm going to stick these on with the stock tyres that came with the FTX Outback rolling chassis. So this should add a lot more weight. These are considerably heavier than the plastic glue-on wheels that are on there. I've actually done this to one. You can see the rest are completely flat. I actually shot blasted them at work. So they are flat and they're a bit manky. But I went and did this, just gave it a quick sand with some 400 grit sandpaper. And it's brought a bit of a shine back, and they do look really look like scale steel wheels. So I'm going to sand back the rest of those and then put some clear coat on just to stop them from rusting, and they should look really good with the body that I've chosen. So this was the reason for putting this whole RC together. Proline offer a samurai sumo Jimny style pickup truck body for it, so it matches the wheelbase and it looks awesome. You can see in this little picture here the paint scheme they've gone for, and it just looks really cool. So it's got a shorter wheelbase than the SCX10, but it just looks really cool, and I just had to have one. So yes, we're going to get this cut out, not painted up today, but we'll get it cut out and mounted on the body, mounted on the chassis even. And I am going to go for a similar paint scheme with the white, but I'm going to go for a dark grey instead of the black, and like a cobalt blue green in place of the lime green that's on there. Maybe change it up a little bit. But yeah, this body looks absolutely awesome, and I can't wait to see it on the Outback 2 chassis. So there we go, that is the new crawler chassis. I'm not going to be filming too much, I'll just film some of the highlight bits, simply because I've done a really detailed crawler build on the channel before with the SCX10, so I don't feel like I need to do another detailed build of a crawler. But yeah, we're going to get most of this done today, and you should be seeing it running on the channel very soon. So without further ado, let's get started.